Welcome to the NBC Connecticut YouTube page. We're talking Face to Facts. I'm Mike Hydeck, along with Middletown's Mayor-Elect Ben Florsheim. We appreciate your time.
Good to be here.
Face to Facts this morning. First and foremost, address when people hear the name Florsheim, they think shoes. How are you connected to the company?
So it's back in the family. My great-great-great-grandfather founded it in 1892 and was in the family for a few generations, was then out of the family and came back into the family. There was differences in opinion between my grandfather and his father. So but he stayed in the shoe industry, and then when Florsheim, the brand, sort of was owned by a few different private equity interests and that sort of thing, and the company that my grandfather worked for and then my two uncles then went on to work for actually bought it almost out of bankruptcy in the early 2000s. My father was never in the business actually, but he went into academia, but my two uncles are still in the industry today.
Now you grew up, I believe, in Utah and in Wisconsin, is that right? So why Connecticut, why politics, why now?
Well, I grew up, spent most of my childhood in Utah, in Salt Lake City. My dad was a professor at the University of Utah. Moved back for him to where he grew up in Wisconsin, right around the time I was finishing up high school and applying for colleges. So it was this big abrupt move for me, and then another big abrupt move out to Middletown, where I went to Wesleyan University. And I was interested in politics in high school, and I decided that getting involved in local politics would also be a great way, in addition to learning about that field. It would be a great way to learn about this new community that I was going to call home, at least for 4 years, and really developed a passion for the community and a passion for working on these issues that are important to everyday people.
So in your resume, you did outreach with Senator Chris Murphy.
Correct.
What did that entail? What does outreach for Senator Chris Murphy mean?
So that means that we don't focus on any specific issue. We focus on trying to make ourselves as present around the state as we possibly can be. Given the amount of time that Senator Murphy has to spend in Washington, we want to make sure that we are absolutely plugged into everything that's going on in the state. So I spent a lot of time working with different local governments in Middletown and elsewhere, a lot of time working with the nonprofit community, with the business community, making sure that we were hearing what was going on and that people had a line to Senator Murphy's office when they needed help with federal projects, when they needed help with federal agencies, and that he also had the expertise, the sort of feedback that he needed from Connecticut when it came to legislation that he was working on. Kind of the same approach I'm hoping to take in this office as well.
You're going to have to do a lot of outreach just for people to get to know you. So on the campaign trail, you talked about redeveloping the riverfront. You talked about concerns for schools. Let's start with schools. The mill rate, as you had said earlier, has gone up. People are a little miffed about that. How do you continue to invest in schools and keep the mill rate reasonable for your residents?
Well, I think that it's kind of it's a bit of a Rubik's Cube to solve, because I think that the most important thing that we can have from an economic development standpoint, that people talk about growing the grand list, bringing in new businesses, bringing in home ownership. That's the only kind of tool in our toolbox for lowering that property tax rate at the municipal level. But what makes a community attractive? What makes homeowners want to move into a community? What makes businesses decide in this day and age to locate somewhere?
Schools.
It's schools, right? And it's great schools. And if we underinvest in education, we're being penny wise and pound foolish, I think. And some of the investments that we've made recently, I think, are making Middletown a much more attractive place to start and raise a family. We need to make sure that we're doing it in a responsible way. We can't expect big increases every single year. But a little money can go a long way when it comes to moving our schools in the right direction, and I think that we're seeing evidence of that right now.
The water treatment plant in Middletown is soon to go offline.
Correct.
You have talked on time and time again about trying to redevelop the waterfront. How are you going to take care of that property specifically? Are you going to try to have that? Does it have to be environmentally mitigated? What happens next? And then you'd like to move forward with some development of the river, right?
Yeah, that's right. And this is really an important thing for the future of our city, really for the identity of Middletown. It's going to transform, for better or for worse, what downtown Middletown looks like. And we got to make sure it's for the better. The riverfront is the reason that Middletown exists as a city. We were founded as a port city in the colonial era, and we've been disconnected from it because of that water treatment plant, because of the growth of Route 9, and for other reasons. The opportunity is to make it even more of a destination than it is today, to make it a recreational destination, a public space that everybody in Middletown can enjoy. And I think that that is going to be a huge boon if we get it right to our downtown economy. It's going to provide opportunities to connect with points north up towards Hartford and all the way down to Long Island Sound with trail systems and things like that. It's a really exciting opportunity, but it's also an obligation to be very thoughtful about how we build out that infrastructure, because if we screw it up again, it's going to be hard to fix. But if we get it right, it's going to be transformative for our city.
Ben Florsheim, Mayor-elect City of Middletown.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on your election. And that'll do it for this Face the Facts. I'm Mike Hydeck. Check out the other videos.
This is Face the Facts with NBC Connecticut.